Hey Todd, I'm Mike Manalo from the Nerds of Color. How are you?
Mike, what are you doing today?
Not much, not much. Just working and everything like that. But the highlight of my day is getting to talk to Todd McFarlane. This is amazing. And let me just say,
Oh, well, we appreciate you giving us the time.
I've been following you for my entire life. I started getting into comics into the early 90s, and that's when Spawn and Image took off. That's when I got into some of the older at that time because it had been like maybe a couple of years old, but the Spider-Man comics that you illustrated. And honestly, you've always been one of our greatest and most amazing creators, and I'm just so floored and honored to get to talk to you.
Oh, well, thanks for the kind words. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, congratulations on reaching $1 million in record time on your Kickstarter. You are now up to 1.5 on the Medieval Spawn Kickstarter. How does that feel for you?
Well, we had data that the first Kickstarter we did. Oh, by the way, I've got to sign a bunch of these cards, right?
Yeah, of course.
So I got to sign a bunch of them. So,
Nice.
so if you see my head's down, then it's not that I'm falling asleep or I'm ignoring you. I'm double my workload. So I'll be talking and
Please do.
listening and signing. So if I'm not looking at you directly, I'm paying attention. Don't worry.
No, no, absolutely. I mean,
Anyways, so we had data on the first one, that ended up at like over 3 million. So we had to make some kind of educated guess that we were going to do, even if we did a terrible job, we do half that number, right? So, and half that number still is a big number and a huge success, right? So right now, the medieval one is now ranked number two in the toy category of all time. Number one being the
great.
Spawn we did 4 years ago,
Yeah.
and now ours. So we hold the first and the second slot. And the getting to the million was faster than the first one. Doesn't
Mhm.
mean that we'll top the number. It just meant that there was a lot of enthusiasm up at the beginning, and we hit our pledge goal of 100,000 within 2 minutes. So we again, I'm I never go into anything thinking it's not going to work. So I just assume it's going to work. So
I mean, you say you hit that goal, you demolished the living crap out of that goal. I mean,
yeah, no,
congratulations.
we got it in 2 minutes, right? And then within 5 hours we were at a $1 million within 5 hours or something like that. And that like usually the way that it goes, the way they explain it to me, and it seems to be true, somewhat true, is that you get a third of your money in the first 24 hours.
Mhm.
Surprisingly, you get a third of your money in the last 24 hours because I think those are all the people that are waiting to see all the add-ons that come throughout. And then you get a third of your money in the 28 days in between, right? So
Oh,
if it's a 30-day campaign, you get, and let's say you were going to do 3 million, you get a million in the first day, a million in the last day, and then you get 28 days somewhere you limp along and then you get another $1 million. So they warned me about that's sort of how it works for all their campaigns, not just toys or our stuff, but all their campaigns. And true enough, it's exactly how it played out on the first one. So my guess is that we'll get a big push, obviously, again at the end. Once people again see all the things that I've added on over the 29 days leading up to the last day, and then decide whether that is enough to get them off the fence and go, oh, okay, you know what? Maybe I was contemplating it. Maybe I'm just a latecomer or I'm a procrastinator, but now I have a fully educated information on the last day of what I'm buying, right? At the beginning, you don't know. I mean, you should be buying assuming you're getting nothing, um, other than the basic, and
yeah.
then you go from there. So this thing is done. This thing is done kind of what we had predicted.
I gotta say, I mean, the figure looks so sick, the variants as well, and I'm just so excited for when I receive my package. I'm gonna be like, oh my God. What really inspired you to kind of revisit the original toy line and kind of remaster all of this, dating back to the, the first one that you did the Kickstarter for in 2020, and then now Medieval Spawn. Was there a desire for you to kind of take a look at those figures from your, the 90s, and then kind of just say, hey, we can do this even bigger and better with some of the technology today?
Yeah, look at the simple answer is we broke into the toy business 30 years ago and we were as good as we were at that point. And now we've gotten a lot smarter and we know how to make toys a lot better. And so it was just a way of going back and saying, hey, nostalgia plays, and we've had some big anniversaries and stuff like that, of just saying, hey, you know what? We know how to make toys better. I mean, I think I even did it years ago as some kind of 3-pack where I actually put in like the original, and then one we did 5 years later and one we did 10 years later, just to show the evolution of our company and what we're capable of doing, and what we've learned over time. So yeah, the answer was, why don't we just take what was kind of, like it was, it's funny because what came out 30 years ago, people thought was pretty dramatic, right? Um, and when I look at it, I just go, man, that's goofy, right? That that's sort of goofy. So let me show you. I think I've got a copy of it right here. Uh, here's the original, right?
I remember, yeah.
So when that came out, again, that was like everybody's like, oh man, look at all that detail, right? Look at all that. And again, in hindsight, I'm like, what? This looks like some goofy thing here. It only had like 7 or 8 points of articulation or whatever else. But again, it sort of shook the industry a little bit when that
Yeah,
came out, right? So
yeah.
now, so now we're at the point where let me grab another one here. Well, here's one here. So now fast forward and we go, okay, we know how to paint better, we know how to sculpt better, we know how to do things better. So now we've
Oh
got
my
something like this,
God.
right?
Yeah, that is
So,
so sick. Look at all of that detail. Look at all
right,
that articulation. That is
right.
gorgeous.
On the
Down to the
front
armor,
and on the
everything.
front and like again, even on the back, right?
Sculpted is so brilliant. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's
So,
so elaborate and wonderful. And it's a showcase of, like, it's funny because I used to see and have those toys from the 90s on my shelves, and to me they were phenomenal. No one was making toys like that. Toy Biz wasn't doing that, Kenner wasn't doing that.
yeah.
You kind of really changed that game, and here you are doing it again. You're one-upping yourself. How do you I mean, that's
Well,
insane.
look, well, I could point to my own comic book career,
Yeah,
right? And say, hey, here's what my artwork looked like the first 2 or 3 years I was in the business, and now here's what it looks like now, right? And because of time and learning and basically getting paid to do it 8, 10 hours a day, you just get more proficient and you get better at it. So uh, there's a lot of pages I did in my early career. I wish I could go back and redo them too. But here's where we're at, right? So
yeah.
we'll have, you'll get the
Oh my
the
God.
package. So this is the package, right?
Yeah.
So it's
So
pretty big in Mondo, right?
gorgeous. Yeah.
With the red foil. I think one's going to be green foil, one's going to be silver foil, and then you take the slip cover off, right?
Yeah.
Boosh. Once you take the slip cover off, then underneath
Oh
again
my
is,
God.
and again there's another black on black gloss design
Yeah.
on the front and on the back, right? So you get it both ways. You get the pull ribbon, right? To make it a little bit elegant. And then when you open it up, then you'll
My God.
get your figure, and most of this is just plastic to protect, but if you take the plastic off,
Look at all
then
those accessories too.
there's all the stuff I hope to give away so
Yeah.
that people will get that. There's a couple up above there. And
Yeah.
then if you take out the foam on this side, then you underneath So if I take out this foam
Mhm.
up in here, which is what was holding the toy. And again, we don't have the stickers on here. This is just sort of an early production piece. We'll have all the stickers and stuff that basically simulate the first one, right? The original one,
Yeah.
like we did. But you get your figure, and then in the bag, there's also the thing that will hold the comic book. This isn't the comic book, but
Yeah.
it's hard, so it doesn't bend.
Oh, wow.
And then we actually even throw a little plastic bag in there in case you want to bag and board your comic book when you're done. So you get one of those too. So um, it's it's a pretty. We're quite proud. We're quite proud of our effort here, and I
Yeah.
think once you open it up, and although it doesn't seem like it, if you look at the all the extras, right? There's there's 20, right? There's two. I mean, it might not seem like it, but there's between that and that, not counting the signing plate.
Yeah.
There's 20, and they don't all come with the signature, like only some of them come with signatures, but there's you can get up to I know it's well over a dozen, but I just counted it with all the heads and everything else. If you
Yeah.
get the right figure, you can get up to 20 extra pieces, depending on how we keep moving forward and how the backing of it all goes. So it's
And
I don't know. We think it's a quality product at a fair price. So
amazing product. Absolutely. The intricate details even on the 20 accessories that come with the figure, let alone the
well, I don't
figure.
know if it's 20. I mean, I counted real fast, so don't hold me to that number, but it's well over a dozen for sure. So
They are
yeah.
all gorgeous. They're so elaborately well done and sculpted, and the design is brilliant. It leads me to my next question, which is, as someone who's not only, a creator of
Like
this, oh my God.
so that's it, like and then not only do we have things like that, the shield, but like the shield has a magnet on it.
Oh my God.
And
Yeah.
so you can either clamp it on his arms, let's say with this feet, you can clamp it on his arms with these two pieces,
Yeah.
or you can simply take that magnet, take your figure, take off the piece on his arm, and then just clamp it on and it's on, right?
Wow. That
It,
is so.
and then you just spin the arm and put it wherever you want. But again, if you don't want to waste a lot of time getting some of this stuff off and on, there's magnets. So
That's so brilliant. I've never had action figures that did that, I mean, like everything would always have kind of those cheap plasticky pegs that you just kind of snap on. You've got magnets and it's actually just so brilliantly done.
yeah, so they're going to be magnets on the forearm, on this forearm, on the chest,
Yeah.
and then that shield that's on there. So there, I mean, again, not every piece that you swap out is a magnet, but we try to make some pieces easy so that you could just sort of go, hey, I want that forearm, click, click, click,
Yeah.
click, right? So
Oh man. I gotta ask, I mean, like your work is just astonishing in the toy space. Have you thought about what you might do as your next Kickstarter campaign after Medieval Spawn? Would it be potentially a clown or maybe something within the DC Direct line, because some
yeah,
of
I mean, yeah, we are talking with Warner Brothers to see if we can do it because I think it'd be fun to be able to do some super high end figures on their part with some of their characters. But probably the next one will be, like you mentioned, one of the major villains, or just continuing to extend some of the Hellspawn themselves.
yeah,
So, we still have She Spawn, who's pretty popular, and we have I think Gunslinger would make
it's
a
gonna
heck
say
of fun.
Gunslinger.
Yeah, with all his weapons and all that other stuff. And then he's had two different masks and two different chests and stuff, so we could mix and match a bunch of that.
Yeah.
Um, I even had a thought the other day too of like maybe offering the horse. Like
Ooh.
we'd have to do Gunslinger first,
Yeah.
and then offer a horse, and then the extras, you can dress it up to be a Western horse,
Yeah.
or you can dress it up to be a medieval horse.
Oh,
And then that way, if you had either or both of the medieval and or the Gunslinger, then you would be able to sort of flop it out and get it to whatever you want it, blah, 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 blah. And people have been asking about whether we're going to do a wire cape and whatever else, and we don't have that in this version right now. But for him to be able to sit on that horse, and the answer is yes, I would have to then include a wire cape,
And then you
right?
just snap it off and
So that it could bend and go up and droop over the horse and stuff like that. So anyway, there's no shortage of characters. I think we've got, like 200 that are, I would call, main characters in the Spawn universe.
yeah.
We hope to be able to pick and choose some of those. So I'll die before I make all of them. Let me say that. So.
Let's hope not, but speaking of Gunslinger Spawn, if you came out with that figure, man, I would break the internet just to get that. It's just it's one of my favorite titles. And I have to ask, I mean, like, in addition to the toys, how are you finding time to even expand the Spawn universe to all of the different spin-offs that are out right now, from Rat City to Medieval to Gunslinger to all of this?
Yeah, I think this week we got a Violator miniseries coming out. And, Spawn kills everyone, and again, we're doing it at like a weekly pace. For 28 years, I was doing one a month, right? And it was kind of at times getting lost a bit. So I felt like I needed to have a little bit more of a regular rhythm, which is to have a book come out like once a week, which is why we expand it from the original Spawn and added King Spawn, Gunslinger, and the Scorch, which is a team book. And now we've got some of these sort of mini series that are coming along that we can give a little bit of breathing space to them, so that the other books don't feel like they're team up books. I mean, it was one of the things that was happening. Spawn, I had all these characters running through, and I go, man, I'm not giving any time to Spawn himself. So maybe I need to branch out and add more books so that I can talk and give stories to the main characters that we need, and then get back to Spawn being able to sort of be the king of his own book, and his domain. But yep, that's it.
I know that I got to pick up King Spawn 37 this week on my pull list. So that's definitely something that's happening and on my to-do list this week for sure. My last question for you, Todd, I can't let you go without asking about an update on the Spawn movie, buddy. I mean, like, how's that coming along? I'm excited for it. The world is waiting for Jamie to don the Spawn outfit and the cape.
Yeah,
How's that?
so the process right now is we've got the script. We're out to a director right now, waiting to see what his response is. We'll find a director, and then at that point, then we'll sort of circle back to casting and selling it into the studios at that point. But yeah, it's moving. I mean, again, not as fast as I would have liked. Hollywood is a interesting beast. It just moves at its own vibe. But in the meantime, that's why I do all this other crazy stuff, because I've got a lot of things, and I've got a lot of creative people around me. We've got a lot of things spinning in our head, and we're just trying to get them out to people. Hollywood, I've always described Hollywood this way. You can be in the business for 50 years, you can do 4 movies, you can die, and then they'll call you prolific, right? I can't go at that rhythm. While in between the yeses of Hollywood, I need to do all the other stuff that comes out a lot more frequent. So
No, you are the busiest man in the world. So I appreciate you taking the time to take this interview with us. You've revolutionized comics, you've revolutionized the toy industry, and now you're going to revolutionize the superhero genre in film. So,
well,
Todd,
let me say that I've had a lot of good people help me along the way in those endeavors, right? So you're only as good as the team you put on the field. And so at the beginning I was playing a solo act, but not anymore, right? So you need to have a team of people, and I've been able to find some good quality people to help push all this along. Yeah.
Absolutely. You've got your Scorched right
Yeah.
behind you. Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Todd, thank you so much for your time. Amazing. Congratulations on the
Sure.
Kickstarter campaign. I can't wait for people to get the figure, including myself, selfishly.
Yeah.
And yes, good luck with the signatures and good luck with everything. Can't wait to see more.
All right. Appreciate your time.
Have a great one, Todd. Thank you.
Be good.
Bye. You too.
Fanboys, professional artists, and professors. Maybe a nerd who's just like you, talking about the things that you like too. So I invite you to the NOC. In full color, you see